Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So we're doing another master guide, we're doing it on Junkrat today, and I already know what you're thinking. He is a hero that we do complain about a lot and probably the least versatile and least picked hero in the game at the moment. Now some of you may have no interest in playing Junkrat and that's fine, but Chro is probably one of the most intelligent, down-to-earth players that I've spoken to doing these master guides. He was a pro demo man back in the TF2 days and now predominantly plays Junkrat, but he has a lot of insight between playing Overwatch and improving at the game, and also 20 years worth of experience in TF2, Quake, stuff like that. So even if you don't really plan to play Junkrat or want a Junkrat on your team, this is definitely worth listening to as you can get a lot of solid advice out of it. But as per usual, if you have a hero in mind that you would like us to go over next and a player you'd like us to talk to about it, then do let us know in the comments below. But let's get straight into it. So I always like starting with this question, because it's a good way of introducing the sort of hero that we're going over, but this one's a bit more rhetorical, I suppose. Why should you play Junkrat?
Why to play Junkrat? His key feature is he does have good mobility, but also his ludicrous burst damage. 600 damage over 3 seconds is what his primary does. If you throw in your concussive mine, then that's another 120 on top of that within the 3 seconds. He's a very bursty class, and he also has the ability to hit people around corners and behind Reinhardt shields or tanks. You can really reach difficult places that no other class can reach.
So just as well to begin with, to talk about your sort of season highs in season 2 and 3 mostly. Season 1, just because the metrics changed, it's a bit different, but like, yeah, how high have you actually got playing Junkrat? Because it's pretty decent, pretty high from what I've heard.
Yeah, season 2 went really well for me, just how the meta evolved and whatnot, but I ran up to rank 88 on top 500, so I made it within the top 500 with only Junkrat. Season 3 has been a little less kind, and that's because of the emerging tank meta and soldier buff. I've made it, I believe it was 350, but yeah, my SR 4300-ish both seasons.
We are going to, of course, go over a lot of the abilities and tips on how to play Junkrat, but it is an elephant in the room. This is probably one of the most vitriolic heroes in Overwatch currently. I don't imagine there is any opportunity where you pick Junkrat and people go, yeah, sounds fine.
Yeah. I can think of 1 or 2 situations where they're like, hey, that's a really good idea. But most of them, they're just like, what's this guy doing? Can he do it? Let's see if he does it. And then, you know.
How do you deal with that? Especially on some maps like Eichenwald on Attack where you're going uphill. Like obviously there are situations like Anubis defending, Dorado defending, where I imagine Junkrat is incredibly good because of those chokes and downward hill, but attacking on some of these maps I don't imagine is easy.
So making him work on attack, it's more or less the same mentality as defense, where you're denying area, but instead of someone attacking your area where you have a bit of an advantage, them coming through a choke point or like you have the high ground, something like that, with attacking it comes down to negating the terrain advantage that they have first, and then after that just trying to chip away at the area they control. So like Eichenwald, yeah, the first part's the choke. If you can get past the choke, well then either you want to secure like the left or the right flank, and so you kind of shell these areas to make the ground less than enjoyable for the enemy team, and as they back up, you buy your team space, right? Your whole job is to make taking space easier for your team. So he's a very team-based hero. What your job is to do is just to push the enemy back a couple of inches and allow your team to push these 2 inches to a foot, to whatever you need to take the next corner.
I think the sort of main critique that people have when playing Junkrat is, sure as hell there is a lot of burst damage there to be used, but he doesn't really have that kill confirming apart from his mind. Like, he doesn't really have an accurate shot, he's just more churning damage into a point and hoping somebody walks onto it. How do you sort of approach that? If you want to kill somebody very quickly that needs to die and you don't have your mind, like, how do you make that aspect of it work? How do you actually get those kills instead of just doing a lot of damage and feeding the enemy supports his ult charge?
So what we're questioning here is Junkrat's inconsistent nature, and that comes down to his primary attack being a slower projectile. And the truth is, there is nothing you can do to make it absolutely consistent. What you have to do is you just kind of get better at it to make his shots more consistent over time, but there'll still be that element of inconsistency that I think the pro meta really wants to get rid of, so that they can use him more and more and more. That's not going to happen. The only real way that you can get kill consistency is remote mine. That's 120 damage, no fall off, big ol' area. Like, it's really hard to miss that. You can, but it's extremely difficult. So yeah, if you can land a shot, all you need to do is land one shot, and that's what a lot of people say. They're like, he's good at landing one shot, but what about that follow-up? That's what your remote mine is for. Also, really good positioning helps there.
How do you aim with a sort of grenade launcher, because you've got demo man experience as well, like, how should people be approaching using a weapon like that? Because you notice a lot of people overshooting or undershooting and not being able to get the angles right, I suppose, on it. So how should you approach that? Is there any sort of special recipe there, or? I'm
trying to think of like a special recipe. It does take a lot of just playing Junkrat. My best advice for you is to avoid mid-range. It's at that point where people can actively dodge your shots, and it doesn't matter how good you are. A better player will dodge you. So either you want to become closer or keep them farther away where they kind of don't notice you, or they're not paying attention to the grenade projectile itself, because it's not as big as people think, and they will lose it, like, if they're looking at the sky a little bit, if you're really arcing it, they won't see it come in depending on the backdrop. Aiming comes over time, and that's why I can't give you a tip or a trick saying, oh, just follow this, these top 10 things. Yeah, there's none of that. Like, you have to think about every single shot. If you're looking for a ricochet at the supports, you have to know your angles. It's very, very complex and deep. A Reinhardt could be approaching me, and I could have 5 different ways I could put the shot on him. You have to weigh these choices, what chance of each one has a percent of hitting, what each move that Reinhardt can do that can mitigate each of these shots. He's an incredibly and deep, complex class, and that's why I can put. Oh man, I think I put like 340 hours in Junkrat between season 2 and season 3. People ask me, like, it's so boring. How do you do it? It's like, no, every one of these problems, very, very complex, and the way to answer it is not through mechanical expertise, like purely aiming. It's about positioning and knowing what to do and how to do it.
So would you say that players just need to be a bit more braver and start playing Junkrat in order to get the most out of him? Do you feel like it's like Sombra? Like, I think everybody has this underlying thing with Sombra where it's just give it time, people will get used to her, people will know how to play it, and then she's going to start getting used a lot. Is it a similar sort of thing with Junkrat? Does he need changing at all? And will he ever sort of be in the pro scene over time for people just actually practicing and playing hero as much as you have?
So I see Junkrat like the stock market. Right now, Junkrat stock is really low and no one's buying. And that's just because of faith in Junkrat. For him to get more play, it's kind of a check 22. He won't be any more inconsistent unless you play him, but no one wants to play him because he's inconsistent. At a certain point, you do have to get braver, and I believe that's an issue in just the Overwatch community in general, is that as soon as a hero starts to encounter an issue, Blizzard has said, like, oh, it's not your fault. You're not bad at the class mechanically. You just have to make a decision to play another class. So what they do is they run away from each class that they encounter hard situation. And if you think about that in life, how would you ever get good at anything if you run away as soon as something gets difficult?
I think D.Va's a really good example of that, I suppose. The amount of people that just dropped her.
Right, and there's no glory or there's nothing impressive about playing a class when they're strong. It's all about mitigating their weaknesses and playing class when you more or less shouldn't. I'm not saying to pick these classes when they're weak, like in a professional match. Don't lose on purpose, but at the same time, you're going to have to play these classes when they're weak to learn to get better at them. And that's kind of why I stuck to Junkrat. Everyone said he's pretty bad in most situations. I was like, you know what? I just really need to pound away at this class, grind it out, and learn to mitigate your weakness. And then the class starts having some viability.
Talking about heroes that maybe Junkrat struggles against in contention with being on a team and also literally on, a battleground. First of all, what heroes give you a hard time as a Junkrat player? What are your, literal counters in a sense? And how do you deal with them? Because you're not the kind of person that I imagine would change off of Junkrat if he's going into some tough territory. You will just try and find a way to actually work and deal with it.
Correct. Yeah, I'm a bit stubborn, a little bit hard-headed, not gonna lie. So everyone knows the one class, Pharah. Most difficult class to go up against is a Junkrat. Difficult to hit her. Even if you do land one shot, still has more health. You gotta land 2 shots. My advice for that is to survive. It's the same for any DPS class or any class in Overwatch in general. If you need to do more, you can either, quality, like make the time that you have better, or, quantity. Just live for a longer time. I think I live probably twice as long as most Junkrats against Pharahs, and that just allows me to hit Pharah twice as many times. Now, if it's still 0, 0 times 2 is still 0. You still don't hit her. But you have 5 people on your team for a reason. Pharahs also have a really problem. They're cocky. And if they see a Junkrat, they're going to pick on them. And it's kind of funny, but I've seen Pharahs dive past my entire team to try to kill me. And I don't even worry about shooting them. I just worry about staying alive. Duck, dodge, weave, and whatnot. And my team kills them. The higher Pharah flies up in the air, the more vulnerable she is. So use that against her.
I do want to talk about traps a little bit, because I think there's a lot of hidden depth and a lot more use out of traps than people may first think. But I guess there's 2 ways of going about it. Are you the kind of player that would use it on flanks to trap sort of flankers that are trying to get by, or would you prefer to put them in the middle of chokes to just almost deter people from sort of going through them?
So, yeah, trap, it's funny, I've been on arguments on Reddit a lot with trap usage, and everyone says it's the most useless ability in the game, and I love it. I absolutely adore what trap does. So it depends with who you're against and the psychology of those players. So if you're against trap, who it works best against? Sombra. If I throw it in the middle of a choke, it's super obvious, but either she hits it or shoots it, and from that you gain information. I know where you're at, I know what you're trying to do, I can really deal with you. Problem with having trap on a flank, and if it's deeper in the flank, either it's really obvious, and if you kind of hide it halfway around a corner to catch someone walking by, you still have to run over to that flank within 3 seconds and shoot him. And if it's like a Genji, he can still deflect last 2 seconds. If you don't get over there within 1 second, he's going to get away. Tracer, yeah, she's a little bit more vulnerable. She can't do anything when she's trapped. Using it for a flank is, you have to be near it. I always want to be within arm's reach of it. But I will use it a lot on the main path, and we're talking about trap usage. You have to understand how tanks move in the game and how supports move in the game. Tanks will usually probably take the straightest path to the objective. Supports, they'll skirt around behind them on the outside. So if you want to grab a tank with a trap, you're going to put it on the main path. Trap a support, it's going to be back a little bit more where they're going to be, where they feel safe behind a tank, but still be able to support them. Why I bring this up is if you want to trap mine someone, like a combo, or you guys call it the combo, but if you want to trap mine a support and just finish her off completely, you have to put it behind the tank on the outskirts of the path. Problem with trap mining a tank is they don't die and then they just get healed. It doesn't really accomplish much. Don't be afraid of throwing traps in the middle of combat. I mean, I'll just throw it at a Roadhog's face if he's right next to me. And what happens is either they throw or either they shoot the trap, which buys me a second. It buys me 1 ammo count of their clip. It buys me a lot if they shoot the trap. If they do not shoot the trap, then I have to use that area I've denied to my advantage. So it's not so much as forcing the trap to work. You have to exploit what everyone's answer to the trap is, and that depends on each situation.
So I guess we kind of covered a lot about the mines before as well. Is there anything that you kind of want to add on using the concussive mine? It's a good way of getting around. It's a good way of finishing people off. Is there any other sort of hidden depth to this ability in itself?
I consider it the most versatile skill in Overwatch currently. You can use it as a trap, obviously. With a trap and a mine, you can kill any 2 hit point class. You can use it to disturb the formation of the enemy, like break apart ranks, if you will. I use it a lot on Reinhardt's, because I'll throw the concussive grenade behind the Reinhardt shield, detonate it, and it kind of pushes the Reinhardt into your team. It's identical, well, it's not identical to a concussive shot or Pharah for obvious reasons, but most heroes retain full air control if they get hit by a remote mine. Like, it's extremely difficult to get an environmental kill with it. It also always pops someone up in the air. Even if you detonate it above someone, the Reinhardt will get, bounced straight up. I've used that a couple times to bounce a Reinhardt straight up. I shoot below them, ricochet off the wall, so when they land, I'll get 1 or 2 shots in. That's a good way of finishing them off. But yeah, concussive mine, I use it more for mobility. As a personal player, I value mobility more than damage. I will constantly use remote mine almost every 8 seconds as it's on cooldown to get around the map to get myself into a better position.
I do also want to talk about the ultimate. It is a really strong ability, of course. It's, a team kill on a wheel that you could just move around the map. But it's definitely an ability that isn't easy to use, and it's very easy to completely botch up. So what kind of advice would you give on using the Riptire?
I would consider it the worst ultimate in the game, but it's still an ultimate, and you have to respect it for that. Yeah, like you said, you can team wipe people. If people aren't giving it respect or they don't really care what's going on, oh yeah, you can punish a team.
Yeah, and you can also focus troublesome individuals as well if you need to. Zarya especially. It's a great way of taking down a Zarya.
If you're upset at someone, like a Genji kills you 3 or 4 times, you're just like, all right, Genji, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna track you down and I'm gonna kill you.
Well, I didn't mean it as much of like an abuse attack at all, but like you can sort of chase after, Annas and stuff like that, and Mercies as well. These very difficult heroes to kill a lot of the time because of how far back they are.
Yes, so I've used it to track down, Mercy's hiding around a corner. I've used it to track down, with the newest patch, Symmetra, shield gen, and teleporters. It's good for getting the hard to reach places. It definitely has use there. But my best advice for the tire is that target one person. You have to take what is given to you. Don't force it. Most people want to do is become that hero. They want to get those, 4 or 5 kills and just be this Junkrat god, and that doesn't happen. Find someone that's out of position or someone that's within reach of your tire. Reinhardt's usually my culprit. I feel really bad for the Reinhardts I play against because as soon as they use the Fire Blast ability, he has no way to one-shot the tire, and then you can just run it straight through his shield and he dies. And once the Reinhardt's dead, it kind of opens up blanks. So you have to find worth in killing one person off immediately. If you get too greedy with it, someone's going to shoot it. it, and it only has 100 health. You can't strafe with it. It's an easy shot. Yeah, find one person, don't get greedy, kill someone. My second advice is I use it. It's Sun Tzu logic. Like, find strength in your weakness. The weakness of Tyre is that it's super loud. As soon as you start moving it around, everyone can hear it. Everyone knows where it's at. So don't be sneaky with it. But you can use that noise to your advantage. A lot of the times, if we wipe the enemy team, let's say it's a 2 CP map on the first point, we wipe them, but they kill 2 or 3 of our guys. Now, their next attack, if our team doesn't get back fast enough, we're probably going to lose if they attack right away. What I'll do is I'll throw the Tyre out, and I'll just drive it in circles, really, around a corner. And team doesn't want to go in. They don't want to engage against the Tyre. And it zones them out 10 seconds, and that's enough time for my team to get back to battle. And then we have a 6v6. You know, I don't have my ultimate, but I don't place high value in it during a fight. I use it as a mini resurrection, if you will, in certain situations.
It's zonal defending, I suppose, more than anything.
Correct. You can definitely zone people out with it. And don't be ashamed of just using your Tyre and, you know, timing it out on a wall. I've done that before. I've done it multiple times, and it works to great success.
Okay, so to sort of close out on it as well, when should you be playing Junkrat? Like, you play him all of the time, sure, but what maps, what game modes does it really complement Junkrat's playstyle? For people that are, like, maybe not too sure on playing this hero, what maps and what situations are good having a Junkrat?
Yeah, no, I'll be the first to agree. I play Junkrat too much. I play him in situations where he shouldn't be played, in all honesty. But you have to play these to get better at it. So what I would say based on that, I would pick Junkrat. First of all, any tight areas, any tight chokes. So Anubis defense, he's really good, point 1 and point 2. Eichenwald, first point, he's really good on defense. And the third point, second point, you have to be a bit creative with it. Anywhere there's a lot of choke points, a lot of small areas, I would say, hey, you can use Junkrat there. Now, for attack, it gets a lot trickier, right? Because it's attack, right? You have to attack them. You can't punish someone for attacking you through a choke point. Junkrat's ability of having no fall-off damage is key. So if there's any maps that have a bit of space, I would use them there. So King's Row point 1, he's extremely effective. And it's not just the fact that you can hit people like over Reinhardt's shield or on King's Row, people give you a lot of space. You notice that on attack, there's that back alleyway, and whenever there's that great amount of space and no one's really going to pressure you, that's when you want to do a Junkrat. He can also attack the back lines from your back lines, which is a point that no one really brings up. So you can sit with your supports and you can bolster the defense of them while still attacking the enemy supports. Let's say if you have a dive comp, maybe. He's a really unique hero in that aspect. Almost like a supporting hero, but he supports through damage and blowing things up.
For sure. Sort of finally then, does Junkrat need fixing? Does he need buffing? Does he need reworking? Where does he sort of stand to make him much more viable, not only in our own ranked games, but in the pro scene as well?
I wouldn't change him at all. I absolutely love what he is right now. A minor change, and I just say this because people ask me, and I'll just say something so they don't think I think it's nothing. He's perfect, but 25 to 50 health on Tyre. That's all I would ask for. Just to take away some one-shot ability from Widow, Hanzo, Farah, and McCree. No, not McCree. Yeah, anything that is 120 damage, just one-shots the Tyre, so bringing it above that threshold would be nice. Junkrat's in a really nice place right now. It's just people don't have faith in him, and he's very useful when you do learn. It just takes a bit of time. And I understand people that want to get better and just get a higher SR, or maybe in the professional community as a whole. It's probably better to learn 3 or 4 heroes than it is to put time into specifically Junkrat. That's not to say that you won't learn a lot about Overwatch fundamentals from playing Overwatch, or from playing Junkrat, and that's because Junkrat exploits positioning more than anything.
And sort of the final question, which we ask everybody on the master videos that we do, because you're an analyst as well, this doesn't just have to stick as a Junkrat tip, but what is like the main tip to help you get better at Overwatch across the whole game?
That's a question, man. For me personally, throw SR out the window. As soon as you worry about that and you believe your SR is an actual indication of your skill, you're going to start panicking every time you lose. If you think about any artist, any pianist, anyone that does any skill in life, if they have a bad day, their skill actually didn't drop all of a sudden. It's not like a Grandmaster 4500 and then you drop to 2500. It's not like your skills have degraded to that of a 2500 SR game. You just have bad days. You gotta get over it. Your SR is not an indication of skill. It's just, your SR is your SR. It doesn't tell you anything else. They want to get better like within 2-3 months. They're like, oh, I want to get Grandmaster from Diamond in the next month. Like, whoa, skill progression does not happen like that.
Yeah, you can't exploit the system like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you played piano for a month or 2 months or 3 months, man, I'm like, I want to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star at an acceptable, sound. I don't really aim for or no pun intended, aim for the stars when you're just trying something out for 3 months. You're gonna have to put in a lot of time. And a lot of people in Overwatch, they've put a lot of time into first-person shooters. Me, I've put in 20 years, especially with the grenade launcher. I used the grenade launcher constantly back in Quake 2. It was just, I love it, especially in CTF. It's just extreme amounts of fun. Don't get disheartened. Don't worry about your SR. I'll say positioning is king. That's the most important thing you can worry about. Want to deal damage and you want an easier way of dealing your damage, an easier way of doing your job with any class, it's positioning. That's what it comes down to. That's all I really care about is Junkrat.
Okie doke. And finally, where can people find more information from that filthy Junkrat main? Where can people find you on Twitch? And also if you have like a YouTube or Twitter and stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm just a dirty Junkrat picker, but if you enjoy that type of thing, you can find me at ProLikeChro on Twitch, so twitch.tv/ProLikeChro, and you can find me on YouTube as well. I have some educational videos, I have some tactics and just general Overwatch fundamental videos out there. I also critique user reviews for any class at any SR, console, or computer. My main job right now is I'm really looking to get the Overwatch community better as a whole, and not just Junkrat, and not just through normal means. Like everyone needs to sit down and we got to talk, and that's what I do with my anal. So yeah, find me at youtube.com/ProLikeChro, but just search for ProLikeChro and you'll find my videos channel.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want more guides to come along like this, and do like this video, it really helps out the channel, the series, and it also gives us a good insight into what you guys want. But until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.